Happy Tuesday evening. Let me know if you are here. Get comfy. And hey Debbie, how you doing? And Linda, how are you? We're going to do 2 projects tonight and get in and knock this stuff out. I'm trying to do different types of folds, so I think that'll something different, so to keep it kind of interesting. We will do that. I'm going to turn my volume up. Give me 1 second here. We'll give it another minute or so, and then we'll get started. I'm going to do 2 projects, and like I've said in the past, I don't like to hold everybody up because I know everyone's busy getting home from work, fixing dinner, or whatever it is that you do in the evenings. I'm sure you all have seen on Facebook that Stampin' Up! Is offering free shipping tomorrow. I think this is the first time, at least in the 9 years I've been with them, or 8 years I've been with them, sorry, that they are offering free shipping. It starts at midnight tonight and will run through midnight Wednesday. So if you are looking to purchase something, tomorrow would be the time to do it and take advantage of the free shipping. The more you order, obviously, you know, the shipping starts out at $6.95. But if you were going to order like $100, it'd be, I think it's 10% of that. So then you're talking $10 and so on and so on. So it's a good time to order things that y'all might need, especially if you've got stuff on the end of the year closeout that you may want, or through the clearance rack. So that's going to be the time to make your purchases so that you can get free shipping. And of course, you know, it never fails. I always put my order in and like, okay, well, and I got my box of goodies from the pre-order from our new catalog, actually, and I'll show you all some of the cards that I made before we get off the thing tonight with one of the stamp sets. It's going to be an online class that I'll start offering it for January. Obviously, I won't be able to do anything with it, obviously, until I think the 3rd when the catalog goes live. So, anyways. All right, well, it is 2 minutes after 7, and I don't want to hold those that are on here up, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do, and I'm not sure what you call this project. First of all, let me just announce the people that I forgot to announce. On the 26th, I think, of November, Arlene Brandt Herkomer, I think is how you pronounce it, name was drawn for Facebook Live. And then last week I drew 2 names, one for sharing and then one for commenting. Rosalie, I can't think of your name, but she lives in Leesburg. She's not too far from me. And then Norma Pfaffendorf, if that's how you, I hope that's how you say it. So if you all are on or come on later, please reach out to me so I can get your mailing address so I can mail you some goodies. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not sure what you call this card. I called it a frame card because I don't know what the name of it is. But what I did was I used the stitched rectangle dies, and I used the 4th one from the top. So this one right here is what I used, and then I also used this one for the sentiment. And so this is what I used to cut it out. Excuse me. So I put it through the die cutting machine and cut out this portion, and then I just moved this one over and I punched out some leaves and did a sentiment. So tonight we're going to be using the Daisy Lane punch. I thought we'd do something kind of springy, because I know for some of you all it's cold and snowy, so we need to have something that's going to brighten everything up. We're going to use the Daisy Lane and the punch, and this is found on page, I made a note here, page 23 in the catalog, and you can purchase the bundle at 10% off, which would be $35 for the 2. And we're going to be working with our Daffodil Delight. I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to work with Daffodil Delight cardstock and the pressed petals paper. And I went ahead and cut this out only because you know how I am. I don't want to hold y'all up while I'm trying to run the big shot or the die cutting machine. And this paper is from the pressed petals, and that's on page 167 in the catalog. So we're going to work with this, pardon me, and then we're going to go from there. So I've already cut and scored my cardstock at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored it at 4.25. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold this over and make sure I've got it even, and then use my bone folder. And I do have this zoomed in a little bit, so let me bring this back just a tad. See if there we go. All right, so that's our card base. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pop, now this one I off-centered it just a little bit, the frame. This one here I did it strictly in the center, so it would be pretty centered. But I decided this one I wanted it a little bit off because I want to put this one over, but I still wanted to show some of this border here. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, and you can, you can use whatever paper that you want. I mean, this is really a very easy card. So I'm just going to stick dimensionals on here, and we're going to pop that up. So give me a minute, and we'll put these on here. You never have enough dimensionals, right? 300 come in a pack, and I think they're what, $5 or $5.50, something like that. I don't remember. But anyways, so let me push these down, and we'll pop these off. And I'm trying to, show you all different types of, I just want to make cards that are a little bit different than the norm as far as like fun folds or different types of techniques and things. So if there's something that you all are interested in, you want to see, just leave me a message, and I'll be more than happy to do that. And I just think it's kind of fun to make, you make the same old cards. I do One Sheet Wonder classes as well, and those are pretty standard, other than we make them and then add to them as far as some different, different things to keep it stale, I guess. All right, so I'm just going to take the frame, and I cut this paper at 4 by 5.25, which is our typical, front base to go on the card. So I'm just going to lay that down and just leave a little bit of a border. And let me get it so it's positioned. Of course, when you cut the hole out of it, it wants to flip around, right? So once we get that down, I think we'll be good to go. All right, so we'll get that there. There we go. All right, so that's done. That was the easy part. Now the next one, and this is really, again, like I said, it's an easy card. So we're going to just put some more dimensionals on this one. And there's not a whole lot of stamping. We're going to stamp a sentiment, and that's really going to be it. And then we're going to we're going to stamp some flowers. So we are going to do a little bit of stamping, but it won't be much. So I'm going to go ahead and push down on my dimensionals with my thumb so I can lift these little guys off pretty quickly. And then we're going to attach this, and I'm going to move it, like I said, a little bit towards the right side of the front of the card. Gotta make sure I can't tell if my, and I'm just going to lay this a little bit like that. So it kind of, I'm going to turn it maybe a little bit out of an angle. I'm going to lay him right there. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to stamp on Daffodil Delight cardstock, and then we're going to punch out. I'm going to do two of the little flower. I love this stamp set, and I love the daisy that has the big stamps, big one as well. So I'm just going to do 2 of these on the yellow, and then we're going to punch these out with the daisy punch. And this is such a cute set. I mean, I really like it. I loved the other one when it came out a couple years ago. So now I'm just going to line this up once I figure out how to get it lined up so it's not going to, let me get in here. Sorry, hang on a minute. Got to cut off my little piece here so I can get to my, bear with me. I'm going to cut off the corners. Sometimes the corners get in the way. So I'm just going to line the punch up. If y'all can see, hopefully. And get them in there. There we go. We're going to do 2 of them, and then we're going to offset them a little bit. All right, so that's one. And then we'll do the other one. Let's do it this way. That way I can hold on to the paper. And then we're going to use one of our, see, and I need to cut. It's when sometimes you got to trim them down. Let me just cut this one off. I think we'll be good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut this one, punch this one out. And I could have done this on white paper, and it would have looked nice, but I thought the yellow might look, I was afraid the white might be too white, so that's why I went ahead and went with this. All right, So we'll put our scraps away. Now I'm going to pop these up. I'm going to take one and put a dimensional on it. And then I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm sure y'all know how to do this. Just kind of curl your little leafies up on your flowers. And then I'm going to attach this to this one on the bottom. And I'm going to offset it so my leaves makes it look like it's full. All right, and then we're going to take another dimensional. I probably should have brought my little baby ones over here, but that's all right. We're going to put him on there, and let's just curl up our leaves. I could have moved him over a little bit more, but that's all right. And we're going to put him down at the bottom. Pop him off. So I'm going to place him right here, and it really doesn't matter where you put him, but I think I'm going to put him right here. Let me think about this, because I've got his sentiment that we're going to put on here. So let me see how I want to do that. I think we'll put the sentiment here. So I think I'll put this over here. I hate covering up the flowers because it's also pretty. All right, so we're going to put that there. And then I am going to take one of our gold faceted gems, and I'm going to just take one of the smaller ones and pop that right in the center there, just to give it a little bit of bling. And then I have I've already punched out the rectangle square. So I'm going to use the stamp from the stamp set, that's Smile. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that. Let me get some ink on that. And we will stamp the word Smile, and then we'll attach that to our card. I always tell my customers not to do what I'm doing. I always tell them to stamp first and then cut, so in case we make a mistake. But for live, we're going to do what I tell them not to do. So we stamped that in Daffodil Delight, and again, we're going to pop these up on dimensionals as well. So we'll use 2 dimensionals to pop this up. See, I told you this is a really easy card, and it's just a different, it's a different effect. And I could sponge the back side, but I didn't think about it. So I'm just going to place that right there. All right, so there's our sentiment, Smile. And then we're going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and we're going to attach that to the inside. But the first thing I want to do is I like to dress up my inside of my card. So I'm going to take a strip of the paper, of the Designer Series paper, and I'm going to attach it right on the edge of my cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to this, and then I'll trim off. Usually I cut it a little bit longer, because then I can just trim it off to the length that I want. Whoops. All right, so we're going to lay that down here. And I'm just going to place that right on the edge of the cardstock. And the Whisper White, I want to say it's 4 at 5 1/4. Sometimes I cut mine at 3 3/4 by 5. Sometimes I don't like having such a big piece. So anyways, so I'm just going to snip off these end pieces here. And then that way I've got my inside of my card's going to be decorated. Let me put those off to the side there in the trash. And then we'll just add our adhesive. And then we will pop that on the inside of the card. Actually, I think this might be 5 by 3 3/4 by 5. So there you go. There is our card. Isn't that cute? Quite simple to make, very quick and easy. All right, so that's the first card that we're going to make this evening. Now let me move this stuff out of the way for 1 second, and let me get the other items out here that I need. We'll move these off to the side for a moment. The next one we're going to make is called a hidden message, and this is one that I made. I just love all these different unique types of cards. So this one is using the paper from oh goodness, I think it's the Dino one that has the Dino Roar Designer Series paper. And it's the back side of one that's got all this tropical. And I'm using it on Mint Macaron. And then you can see the colors in here. It looks like it's the the blue, and looks like Old Olive, and of course Pretty Peacock. You make your message, and this one says celebrate another year of happiness. And then you pull this out, and then it says you mean the world to me. And then you can open the card and then have and I just use the circles, and I'll show you how we did that. Then that's where you can write your message inside too. So they kind of get 2 messages in one. So I thought that was a cute card. So we're going to do that this evening. Let me move my stuff out of the way. All right, so on this one, I'm going to set this off to the side here. This one, we're going to use a piece of thick Whisper White. And again, it's the normal, should I say normal, the 5.5 by 8.5. And this one I'm doing a little bit different. And I'm going to attach, we're going to do it this way. I'm going to attach a piece of the peacock, pretty peacock on top. And then I'm going to put a piece of Whisper White right here so that we can type our sentiment on. And then we're going to attach our top piece of paper, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and attach this piece of Pretty Peacock. And this is cut at 4 by 5.25. And we're going to attach that to the front of our card. And we'll get that on here. And I apologize for the, I have got to get a better lighting set because you can see the shadows and it drives me, whoopsie, hang on. I don't want him to stick in the wrong spot. It drives me crazy. All right, I think that's good. Okay, so there's the first part we're going to do. All right, now, this is 3 3/4 by 5, and this is going to be our top piece. The first thing we want to do is we're going to use a 1-inch circle, and we're going to punch. You have to decide where do you want your message to be. I am going to, I cut a piece of Purple Posy at 1 1/8 by 4. So I technically could have it running this whole length, okay? So I could put my message where, I think I'm going to put the message, I kind of like it to the right side. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take my, since it's not tacked down, bear with me because I'm going to have to punch it my way. Want to figure out where you want your, you're going to figure out where you want your message, okay? So we're going to, I'm going to have it come over, probably start at the hole, probably right about in this area. So I'm going to punch, I'm going to push it all the way up into my paper, and I'm just going to, I'm eyeballing where I want my hole. This is going to be the end of my circle. So I'm just going to leave this much right here open. So I'm going to punch that, okay? And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to punch. Now I know my sentiment is, I'm going to use the word congratulations. So I know that's going to be big enough to, does that make sense? It's going to be big enough so that we can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and punch this here. And I'm pushing it all the way up so it's going to be even with that other circle. And this is the 1-inch circle that we have, okay? So we're going to punch that there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take my paper trimmer and I'm going to just cut a line from here to get my circle, to make my opening for my sentiment. And I'm going to put that in the trimmer and I'm going to line up the trimmer. Let's see if we can get, we're going to line up the trimmer where the blade is going to be right where that circle is, right there. And I'm going to push down because I want to make sure I get it cut right. I'm going to pull down and then go right back up where you know it cuts. And pop that back up and you see how it's cut there. So now I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing on this side because I want to make sure I get it cut where I can get see my sentiment and not cut anything else. So I'm just going to put it down and just pull it towards me where it hits that circle and cuts it. And there we go. And give me 1 second, my dog wants in, and if I don't let her in, she's gonna start barking. Pardon me. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. If I didn't do that, she'd start barking. So, all right, so that's how we make our little opening. Now you can make this, if you've got a longer sentiment or saying that you want to put in here, you can just cut, you can cut a circle over here and make it this long. So it's however you want to do that. It's up, depending on what you're trying to accomplish with the sentiment that you have, all right? So I'm going to move this out of the way. Let me set that up there. Okay, now, so the next thing that I need to do, let me pull my card base back in, and let me get my stuff here. All right, so I know that I'm going to stamp a sentiment, so I'm just going to eyeball, and I'm sorry, I don't, the measurements, I'm just going to eyeball where I want. I'm going to glue this down, and then I'll stamp my sentiment on it. But I want to make sure that I have it in the position. So I think that's going to work, okay? And you don't have to put this high of a piece of white on, Whisper White, but I am. So I'm just going to go ahead and tack this down. All right, so I'm going to put this probably right about there, and I think good. And it doesn't matter if it's not straight because we're going to cover it up. All right, so I think that's going to work. All right, so the next thing that we've got to do is we're going to take our foam strips and we're going to put foam all the way around the card, and we're building this up so it gives room for the slider to slide through. Okay, so we're just going to put this down here, and then we're going to also, let me cut that. I'm going to go ahead and do all the edges first, and then we'll come back and do around this area here, because we want to make sure that our slider that we've put in there is going to not get hung up. I think this is a cute card, you know, and then of course we're going to dress up, put a little bow on it, so whoever receives this card will know they have to pull that little pull thing, and then they get to see their message. And you don't have to put this much strips on there, but I'm just putting them on there because I want it to stand up. And then we're going to put some right here. Now, what I want to do, and that was what I want to do, and I shouldn't have put this right here. That's my fault. Hang on a minute, because that's going to be our opening. So let me take that off right there. Don't put it where you're going to have your opening. So I'm just going to bring that back up and cut it down. So the opening part where we're going to slide our message out, we don't want to put the adhesive there, okay? But we do want to put a strip right here because we want this to block. I'll use this small piece. We want this to block our message so it doesn't go any further, all right? And then we'll just trim this. We'll trim this down if we need to. I'm going to move this back just to block that there, and then we're going to put a little bit on each side to keep our piece of cardstock from traveling where it's not supposed to go, so it slides in. And really, this is probably the longest part that takes the longest to do, is putting the foam strips on here, you know, because we want to get it close to the edge, but not quite. I'm going to turn this around so I can see it. You want to give a little bit of room on the edge of the designer paper, but not enough for it to get, hung up. So, and I think I've got that cut enough of a strip that should take care of it. All right, I think that's good. So before I peel that off, let's do ours. We're going to do our, let me turn this back around. We're going to go ahead and do our sentiment. So, all right, so the first thing we're going to do, oh, here's my ink. I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock ink for my sentiment. So let's go ahead and lay this on here, because I'm gonna stamp the one underneath. So I'm going to lay that here for now just to get an idea of where I need to stamp it, okay? And we're going to stamp. This is going to be the one that's going to be hidden. Hang on one second, let me get it fixed. And that should fit right in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little mark, which no one's going to see, right about here. So I know that I've got room for my sentiment to go right there. Now you can push it down in there, and I should have done that before I put the foam thing on it, but it's okay. We'll make it work. So I'm just going to stamp this right about here, and then when we get ready to attach this, see, that's going to be just fine. All right, so I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. Now we're going to take our square, our rectangle here, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my congratulations on the front, and I'll trim this down as needed. We're going to do that. And the next thing we're going to do, I got to take my circle before I forget, this on here, and then we're going to do a little notch right here so that we can pull out. So I'm just going to take that 1-inch circle, just push it in just a little bit, just so that you get a notch, so that you know you got to pull it. And I'm just kind of, eyeballing just enough to, it gives it a little, a little tab thing. So now we have our congratulations. So we're going to put that in there. So I'm trying to get an idea. So I know I need to trim this down. So I'm just going to cut right here and cut down, and then we'll see if it's going to be our should. So I got my, this is a little too close. So let me pull this off, and I'm going to move this up just a little bit, so we can get the message. And if I have to, I can always trim my message down. That's not a big deal. So, all right, so it's hanging up a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to trim this just like a little tiny bit off. I'm off maybe 1/8 of an inch of this. Let me get it in there. All right, so we're just going to trim that off. That should take care of our little issues. And that's the nice part, is because this thing is kind of hidden, no one's going to see anything other than the word congratulations. So let's get that there. Now it looks like it's going to slide. So we're going to lay it in there. Let's see if it's going to work. Yep. And then I'm going to move, now that I've trimmed it down, I'm going to move, see how I've got it right about centered. So I'm going to move this piece right here back up. And that's, sometimes you just got to play with it. You know, if you want to leave it the full length, then you just need to, stand. And that's going to be my block right there so it doesn't pull away. Okay, so I think we're good with that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to round the corners. Let me get my rounder. Now this is a retired corner rounder from that we used in, there's a Project Life one when we used to sell Project Life, but this is the corner rounder that I have, so that's what that's what I'm using. And what did I do with our, oh, there's our sample. So I'm going to round off this right here, just these two. I'm not worrying about that one, so I'm just going to round those two corners. Go ahead and put this back in and make sure. And I've got a little bit hanging out, and I think that'll be okay because we're going to poke a hole there. So I'm going to go ahead and round the corners using this punch, and you can use whatever corner rounder you have. So we just want to pop it in there, make sure we got it in, and punch it down. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Let me switch it around this way so I can see. Sometimes I don't get it in there right all the way, and it makes a little funky little divot in it. All right, and then the next thing, and I apologize, I'm using the ones that are retired. This is that triple corner punch that we used to have, and I'm going to use this right there so it pokes a hole so that I can get my ribbon in there so that they can pull it out. So I'm just going to push that in and punch down, and I think that's going to cut a hole. It's not quite straight, but that's all right. No one's going to notice it. Okay, so now I am going to push my ribbon, and I'm using our white with that silver stitched edging, and this comes in silver and gold. So I'm going to pull this up, and I forgot to bring my twine, so give me 1 second. Let me grab that real quick. You would think that I'd have everything ready, right? Okay, so if you guys haven't noticed, the twine's coming in on these rolling things now, so when you pull it off, it's really curly. So I just take my thumbnail and pull it off, and it kind of keeps it. Now I'm going to just tie, let me cut this first with my ribbon scissors just so we get a little bit of an angle. And I'm just going to tie a bow around this real quick. See how fancy I can do this without becoming all thumbs. So I'm just going to tie a quick little bow to hold the ribbon in place. The first thing I'm going to do is tie it, get it in here. Hold on. I'm going to tie it in a knot so then I can maneuver the twine. Do y'all struggle making knots and bows and stuff? Or is it just me? Okay, so let me tighten him up. I'm going to tie a knot real quick, and then we'll tie a quick bow. Make it look pretty. And then I'll fluff my the ribbon here in just a second. And this is the part that drives me crazy because I have fingernails and I need to go get them done. They're way too long, actually. Every time I go in and get my nails done, I always tell them, cut them short. I just want them barely hanging over the edge. And they look at me like I'm crazy because most people want long fingernails, right? But I can't operate with long fingernails. I don't know what about y'all, but I can't. And that does not look very pretty, but we'll, let me see if I can pull this piece. One of these is gotten hung up here because it's fallen. Let me see. Let me redo it. Sorry. Whoops, look at that. Pulled the thing right off. That wasn't too smart, was it? Try this again. You get to watch me make a bow. Just what you wanted to do, right? Oh, and I forgot to announce, did I announce the, let me see. Oh, yes, I did. I announced the people that names that were drawn. All right, hang on a minute. This is when you need to have an extra hand, right? In here, trying to tie these little bows. Okay, so let's tighten this little guy down one more time. Y'all talk to your stamp stuff when you're stamping too? Like, let me take this off. I probably should have put a glue dot on it. That would have made it a lot easier, wouldn't it? All right, this is going to be the last try here. Let's see. We'll get it. We will get it. I have faith. If y'all have a better way of doing this, let me know, because I am open to any suggestions. See, and I know it's because of these goofy, my fingernails, but that's right. We'll get it. We'll tighten her down and make her look good, and no one's going to know that it took me 5 minutes to tie this little tiny bow. See? There we go. Tighten her up. Pull the tails down, get our bow in position. Okay, now we're moving along. We'll snip off the tails. Now they'll know they've got a little tag that they're supposed to pull on. Okay, so let's make sure this is working. So that should slide in there. Very good. I think that's going to work. Okay, now that we have that done, let me get all these threads out of the way. We're going to go ahead and pull off our backing to our foam strips, and then we'll go ahead and place our card down, and we will have this one completed. So I hope you all enjoyed this. It really is a fun card outside of being challenged on tying bows. And the foam strips come in handy because you want it to pop up off the card so that your slider will go in. And then when we get done, I'm going to show you my cards that I made using one of our new stamp sets from the catalog, which comes out next month. And for those that just joined, don't forget, I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook, but tomorrow Stampin' Up! Is offering free shipping on orders of $50 or more. And it starts tonight at midnight and runs till tomorrow at midnight. So keep that in mind. If now's the time, if you want to take advantage of all the sales, get all your stuff off of the closeout sale and the clearance rack and all that good stuff. All right, so now we've taken the back off. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on here. And this is cut at 5 by 3 3/4. So again, I'm just going to lay this on here. Yep, it's a tad crooked, but that's all right. We'll work with it. You can tell that I don't get too upset over stuff like that. And you know why? Because it's a handmade card, and the person that's receiving this is going to be so appreciative that you made them a card that they're really not going to care. You know? And then this one, we're just going to slide right on in there. And there you go. Now, we could decorate the front, but I think I'm going to leave it just like this. I like the plain. I think it looks nice. And we could, I could have put a flower or something right here. And so your person's going to get it. They're going to pull the congratulations. And then it says on the things that you did, whatever. And then open it up. And then you have room to write your message. So don't you love that? I just think that's awesome. I love these cards. And then this is the one that I did earlier. And then the other card, this is the one initially I made prior to tonight. And then this is the one that we made using the stitched rectangle framelits. So I hope you all have enjoyed these cards, and let me show you, and if you need any products or anything, if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to earn your business, and you can always go through my online store. But if you have any suggestions on any other types of fun folding cards or something, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that. Now let me just show you cards that I made that are going to be part of my online class. And I'm sure that you've seen a lot of the painted poppies, and this is one of the stamp sets that is coming out January 3rd. And it comes as a bundle, so there's dies. It has another set that's called Poppy, I think it's Moments, something Moments, I don't have it right in front of me. And then that one has dies that will do the labels for the sentiments, because one card is sentiments, one stamp set is all sentiments, and the other one is strictly all flowers. So this is one of the cards that I made here, and I just thought that, now this I fussy cut, I just thought this is really cute. I love this stamp set. So this is going to be a class that I'm offering online starting January 3rd. And this one I did a little different colors and used some of the new crinkled white ribbon. And there'll be 4 cards. I've got one more that I haven't finished. And this is the fold that we did a couple weeks ago. Isn't this gorgeous? Do you not love these colors? And this is that Z-fold card that we made a couple weeks ago. There'll be one more card, and the class will be offered at, if you order $50, then you'll get the class and the kits to make cards. And then you'll have the option if you want to buy, you can always add on the stamp set or whatever. Or you can make that as part of your $50 order. This is the card that we made this evening, and this is the other card that we made this evening. I call that the hidden message, and I'm not even sure what this is called, but I'm calling it a framed card. So I hope you all have enjoyed that, and I kept it to almost 40 minutes. So have a good evening. Thank you all again for stopping by and watching, And please make sure that you share and my video and leave a comment. And I will be drawing names again for next week. And have a good evening, you all. If you need anything, please reach out to me by messenger or email me at dawn@shallwestamp.com, and I'll be more than happy to assist any way that I can. All right, have a good evening. Bye now. Thank you.